Hi. So I'm sculpting tonight. I get to sculpt something fun. A demigorgon. Wait, a demi-morgan, because a demigorgon is obviously copywritten in someone else's character. So this is going to be inspired by and similar to this critter right here. Okay. So I will be sculpting. I have my computer so that I'm able to look at images for reference. I have a folder already set for reference. And I want to put this into, I have a folder for the body. That's all those pictures. And then I've got one just for the head, which may or may not be very helpful. Okay. Then I know that I'm doing a half mask here that all the petals are going to connect to. And I know that what's going to be here isn't the final of the mask for sure, because I have to build it in such a way all those petals move and open up. And that's going to be done with servos. But almost every sculpt starts the same. Looks like there's several mouths inside of the petals, so that's what we'll have to. Just got back in from out of town. I had 2 out-of-town trips in a row. I had to go to Atlanta, and I trained actors at Arcs Mortis Haunted House, and that went great. That was a really good time. They have a wonderful show, and I hope they have a great season. That is Arcs Mortis Haunted House in Killen, Alabama. Finished their training last weekend, and then this weekend I actually went to LA for a show that was happening there, which was a good time. So, yeah. This clay is a hair stiff. It's not quite brand new. It's been in a 100 and some degree room over there on the other side of the shop. Hopefully you guys can see that it's just scrolling through pictures of what that head looks like. So sculpting, I'm going to cover this head in clay. That should take, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, maybe 20. And then I'm going to be able to start really sculpting on it. So I got a lot of figuring out to do. I haven't thought very much about this sculpture. It's necessary that I get it knocked out pretty quick. But it's not a complex sculpt. I see a lot of pumpkin teeth in this one. I see it not being very fun to pour up. This is one where I know how I'm doing the body, I know how I'm doing all those other things, but I don't know. There's a couple of things I don't know. I know he's got a great texture all over him, so I'm not worried about the seam between the half mask. And I'm going to turn the half mask into a sock mask, and that will be how I cover the whole actor's head. This is going to be for a stilt costume. It ought to be kind of fun. This is a costume that I want to use. It's not one that'll be for sale. So most masks that I make, someone messages me and says, hey, can I have one of those? No, not this one. This is someone else's work. And I think if I'm willing to bet that there is or is going to be an official DEMI mask out there that's licensed. And that would be cool. Hello, bipolar Bushman. Building some pig heads. Sweet. That's awesome. Hello, line cook. Pig heads. Pig heads, pig heads. Roly-poly pig heads. Yeah, I think a big enough pig head, I'd probably start with a 5-gallon bucket and kind of build up from there. That way you've got a good base and you're not, you know, spending tons and tons of material. So in this guy, all this is kind of neck until a flat comes down. That might be, I might have to change it. Looking at the anatomy of the head. Looking good. I don't have anything down here yet. Hello, Jamie Thaxton. Hello, Kansas. As always, I'm going to start by throwing down some clay. I'm going to put about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch of clay over this whole thing. Once I have that on there, then I can start doing some building up. Now this mask is going to really have to be mixed media. This is going to be a base for the inside and what you see when the petals pop open. The outside and the petals themselves, the petals are going to be EVA foam because that's nice and light and I can make them operate. But then the so the petals will be EVA foam. And I'll do a fabric and latex for the outside of the head that turns this into a whole mask. It's just going to be a lot more comfortable for the actor. Because of the weight of the petals and the servos and such, I probably will have several straps on it, not just the one on the back of the head. I'll do a couple of different straps. And you have to think about this stuff as you're sculpting. You know, I can't just sculpt this and then say, oh, how am I going to make it move? You got to know ahead of time. I've got servos sitting over here that I'm hoping I can build little pockets for in this sculpture. So then it's real easy to set them in place. Got to figure out exactly where I'm going to hide the eye holes because this creature has no eyes. There's a top petal that doesn't have to open up, really. Yeah, and I think I'm just going to pumpkin teeth the crap out of this. And that's what all those teeth are going to be inside of his head. Well, you guys probably can't see that image, but if you look up the DEMI MOOREGON, never mind. I get my jokes. And that's what's important, really. Yeah, currently I'm just blobbing it up. I'm putting lumps of clay down, making them go. So I was just in LA area, Long Beach, and El Cajon is another area of California that I was in. there for a couple days. Me and my wife like to go bird watching, and we did some wonderful bird watching. Saw a golden eagle. We saw a hooded oriole. Beautiful birds. A fox sparrow. Beautiful little bird. But had a great time. I'm not a gambler, but we stayed at the Sequan Casino Resort. And took a golf cart, drove around and looked at birds. And that was a wonderful day the wife and I spent. Can't be monsters all the time. I guess it can. Birds can be scary. See, did I miss a comment? Thanks, Jamie. Oh, are you familiar with Sequan? The golf course is beautiful. They have a golf course there, and the resort, it's just beautiful. So if you're in that area, that is definitely a place to check out. And they're also they're you know, adding on to their casino with a lot more hotel rooms and things like that. I was in the little hotel that they had by their golf course. Now I'm looking for holes, and I'm filling holes to make sure I have that even thickness all around. Well, Michael, I'm not going to say I'm behind, but I better get started. I got stuff to do, that's for sure. Not a ton of sculpture, simply because, well, I'm in real good shape actually for orders, but this is a character that I want to see this year. I want to see him walking around in a haunted house. That would make me very happy. It's kind of a hard costume to pull off. So I always like the challenge of, you know, where you get to sculpt something and make something physically that they chose to do in computer generated graphics, you know. So it's always nice when you get that challenge of, I have to make it in real life. Now, obviously they had real life versions, but most of my reference is the CG stuff. This is kind of an older monster because the Stranger Things monster, you know, that's what, 4 years old now? Something like that, 3-4 years old. So I didn't want a barn burner out of the gate when it is something that I wanted to see and wanted to make. And other people's characters, I'll probably make a pumpkin head here down the road just so I can wear it, but I gotta lose some weight first. No one wants a 300-pound pumpkin head. Which I'm in process of losing some weight. Might have hit a stall, and by hit a stall, I mean I found some ice cream and donuts. Cheeseburgers, man, I love cheeseburgers. But can't have them all the time. Right now, I'll put some clay over these eyes, and I'm poking a little hole right where the center of the eye is, because I don't want to lose it. And I could be well into my sculpture and decide to open up some eye holes. If I don't know where it is, I'm going to mess up my sculpture. Or at least make it harder on myself than it has to be. Now this creature has no eyes, and it has no like person mouth, you know. Yeah, he, you know, a 300-pound pumpkin head, that means that he was really heavy on the vengeance, you know. Pumpkinhead's one of my favorite creature designs. It's just a beautiful monster. You know, Predator gets a ton of credit because it's such a distinct creature and a distinct silhouette and head shape and mouth shape. Very distinct. But Pumpkinhead, man, I think Pumpkinhead is superior to Predator in looks. It's a sexier monster. You look at the body of Pumpkinhead, you know, shoulders aside, very similar to what I'll be doing for the Demogorgon, body-wise. Body structure, chest muscles, all that. Very similar. Okay. I've taken away, the mouth I'm not as worried about. We'll find ways to breathe. You know, if I put enough holes in around near the mouth, I can get near the mouth. But the eyes, man, you can't screw with a person's vision. Because I want to, you know, I want to be on stilts, so I'm not going to mess with that. Okay, I'm starting now to think about what's happening inside of here. And I need to mark out where all my petals connect, that kind of stuff. So my petals have to be back a little bit from the head. And you guys don't have the best angle right now. I know that, and I am going to change you. You know, you think it's going to open up and you want it out here, but it needs to, I need to not have the petals be this far off of the face. I've got to hit the right proportions with them. So these petals, to be big enough to make an impact, I have to slide them back further. Just like a monster's jaw, you know, it has to work right. And where a human jaw connects is not a great spot for a monster's jaw to connect. And because they open and close, there has to be a membrane in between them. You know, it can't just be the mask and the petals. There's something has to be in between the two that's flexible and moves. And that'll be like a spandex material. And that is going to be where the petal hinges off of. These are wrong. Got to move them up. Okay. Better. All right, let me move the camera. Start putting down some shippies, which is pretty sure my battery life is good. Oh, Michelle, Dairy City. That's my reference. That's what I'm going through reference-wise. I know I can alter the petals to make, you know, to work with what I sculpt here. So I'm sculpting this mask first, then I will make the petals. And each of these nubs that I put on These are hinges. There'll be hinge points. That is the lower lip of a mouth shape that's happening. Don't you like that I moved the camera? You guys could have a good view of my shoulder while I sculpted. That inner mouth is almost frog-like, except for all the cargan teeth sticking out of it. Tool time. Now we start with some tools. I also have this guy here, which I will be using for the body quite a bit, but I will not be using this for the face because when they made this, they didn't have to worry about a face in there. I have to worry about a face. Turns out actors have them. Okay, I gotta grab some other sculpting tools. I'll be right back. Again, I'm always watching where those eye holes are. I don't want to do anything to hurt those eye holes. What's nice about this is all these teeth will kind of be pointing the same direction. I've got the plant creature mask that I do, and it's got a lot of teeth also. But they all point different directions, and that means the pour up is very hard because air gets trapped in there. And just as I pull little bits and stuff out of this mouth while I'm, blending them together, I'm putting that in any holes I see up on top. Hello, Scotland. Hello, Scott. And there's a whole area under here that is sort of built out with veins and stuff. And that is going to be where I hide a lot of my breathing, I think. Very muscly and veiny. There's a few. General tools, that means it's not there. Don't think it's that one. Is it this one? Here's some. These will help. Okay. Can't find all of my sculpting tools, but I've got a few. I know I put them somewhere to keep them safe. You guys know how that goes. Before I forget, I got to start putting in this top piece that is definitely going to be in the sculpt. It's not a moving pedal. I'm really kind of bringing this guy down in scale a little bit because I physically don't want to make it as big as it is, as other examples of this creature are. I think that outness is good. I don't want this to be super thin anywhere, so it'll come out of the mold easy. You can hurt yourself by, if it's real thin in the middle here, then this won't pull through that part of the mold. Everything that's air is going to be stone. That is stuck in the mold once you make it a mask. Actually, you can't make it a mask because you can't get it out of the mold. A lot of people do that with ears. You know, they have these big ear tips and this thin wall, and those won't pull through. Or they rip off or whatever. You don't want that. So we'll be leaving this a little bit on the thick side for safety. What's amazing about the internet is that, you know, I have reference photos of this, which, you know, the first time I made a pumpkin head, in '94, there really wasn't enough stuff on the internet, you know what I mean? There was not good reference photos, so now all I got to do is poke around a little bit, you know, and I've got pictures of the sculpts that they, you know, used to, you know, render them from, that they used for the computer modeling. So I can't leave this guy long. I'm going to have to mold him probably tomorrow night. It's just too hot in Texas for a sculpture to hold up if I can't get out here with it every day to water it and keep it moist. Right now it's very comfortable in here because I have the air conditioner on. I don't leave the air conditioner on when I'm not in here. And you know, I'm in no way am I ready for detail at this stage. All that I'm doing is putting down some basic forms that are going to be important to getting the message of this creature across. Some teeth. You watch that. Some teeth. You watch that. This is not for sale, Shelly. Cool deal. Glad you molded something today. What'd you make? Tell me, tell me, tell me. Hope it was awesome. We'll put down shapes. And, you know, new sculptors, they don't refine them enough. If you just, you know, basically form something and throw it on there. And for us to be successful, we have to get our vision into the clay, not allow the clay to take the path of least resistance. And that's what clay wants to do. It wants to be on that path of least resistance, and that's not what we want. You know what, so looking at my reference material, this is actually much further out. So I'm going to hit this with more clay. There will be 5 petals to this guy. Kind of like it's hard to see the eyes of a person wearing a baseball hat. Same deal, yo. It will also allow me to thicken up the base of that ridge a little bit. So I, again, am sure it'll pull out of the mold. And I want this now on the one. So I'm going in here again. I'm going here one more time and beefing up the base of that mouth ridge. And I'm beefing that up for molding. It might look a little cooler if that, you know, lip were super thin. It wouldn't, because, you know, you don't get any bite strength if your teeth are only attached to your lips. Your teeth have to be attached to something solid. Oh, okay, I got you, Dozer. Yes, I remember that skull. I like it. I don't always equate a Facebook name with a YouTube name, even after you tell me. I'm afraid. Okay. So, all of the stuff at the base of the petals I've got a hinge that I have to put on, so that's going to have to be built up around that a little bit. But I can get all this inner structure going. See, it looks like on the 3D renders, there's a little tongue down here. Not on this one, not on the other ones, but this is a different one. See that little bit of a tongue? That might work. I sure did, Linda. I had a good time. There's a structure in here that is, let's just say it's feminine, and I'll have to rough that sucker in next. What I'm doing, I'm sketching, okay? I'm not committing this, you know. It is not a sparsely toothed creature. I tell you, this will not be fun to pour up. Because an air bubble in these teeth will be the problem. But the more teeth that I put in, the more the eyes are hidden. Again, this guy has a lot of teeth. I'm using common sense and economy to tell me where to put these teeth. I'm not looking at anything exact because their teeth are all different sizes and whatnot. I'm using all the same size teeth, which I don't think will hurt me at all. But it does slightly change my aesthetic, which I'm fine with. The last thing I went off completely, but I love the flowering design of the head. Okay, I love it. So yeah, that is an aspect of their design that I'm keeping. Fell off my radar a little bit, my extreme apologies, but now that you reminded me, I will look up again. If you're going to Oklahoma City, I think that we can help you, because that's going to be easier to find it in. Heck, you know, 2 more hours south, you're in Dallas. Now all these teeth I'm putting in, and I'm probably going to pull right back out. Not because I'm going to mold them out, I'm going to mold them in, but I can't clean my sculpture up if the teeth are in the way. But I don't think I can really work on my sculpture very much if I can't see it with the teeth in. Another row of teeth here. Okay, so I can see that's going to hide my teeth pretty darn well. Hide my eyes, I should say, pretty darn well inside of there. So I'm not too worried about that. That's cool. I think I can actually knock these walls, ribs down a little bit. And I can dig in a little more around that area than I thought I could. All right. So yeah, things are good. Things are happening. Hey, Ezekiel. Good to see you, buddy. Dark. I can't always say where my projects are going. This will be a stilt creature, and it will open and close. The upside to working on something like this for someone, sometimes they say, I know you're making my mask, and I know you go live all the time and stuff, but I don't want people to see it. I want it to be a secret. I want it to be a big reveal. Okay, I get that. Everybody knows what this monster looks like, so it's not a big reveal. There's no problem at all with me going live while I work on it. See, now I can pull these guys straight out, and I still have the sockets of where they were. And I'm going to, you know what? Do I want to glue all these teeth in separately? Do I want to mold it? It sure would be easier to mold and pour up if I did the sockets. Maybe. I think I have enough pumpkin teeth for it, and if I don't, I'll just order more from Bob Connor on Etsy. So yeah, that's what I'll do. I'm going to do this as nubs. I'm not going to mold the teeth in. Spray bottles. Okay. Sometimes I don't always find water when I'm looking for something in a spray bottle. No, not vodka. Alcohol, vinegar, those are possibilities. So right now I'm losing my little eye dots that I put in. Going in stronger, pulling that out. Look. All right. going to grab a little bowl of water because that'll be a stronger whoosh. Still here. I've not forsaken you more than usual. All right. So here we go. I got a cup of water so that I'll be able to use this green scrubby. Once I cut a chunk off of it. I don't want to use all of it. All of it wouldn't fit in the nooks and crannies. See, I've got these big rake marks on here. I just want to smooth them out. And this is very rough. It's going to leave smaller rake marks. And that's okay. His skin is very heavily textured. That's kind of an advantage, but it's a specific texture. So whatever I do texture-wise on this part of the face, I kind of have to carry around to the back of the head. So, and I've got a lot of fabric that has to go on this because, again, all of these points are hinges. And they're going to be wider than what they are right now, for sure, because they're going to have a fabric that expands and contracts with it while that opens. And there was no detail on this, okay? This is, we're not at that stage. We're not going to be at that stage for a while. I may not get him done tonight even. It might be tomorrow night. And that's okay. Tomorrow I'm going to have Rob and some other folks in the shop, I believe. And I'll be going live again. I'm just about to the point where I'll be able to really stick to my schedule. I've been doing pretty good, but obviously me being out of town the past, boy, solid week, really. Put a damper on that. It's the general tool that I'm using. It is just evening out all of this stuff that's on here. I don't want so much water I turned into mush. That won't help me. But I do need to be able to level it. Even animals that are considered really bumpy, like toads, that's a texture. It's not a structure, if that makes any sense. And also, this is allowing me to run my hands over the whole thing, and I'm seeing how this feels. How's it feel? How does it feel to me? Because my eye won't understand that one part is higher than another. I won't see it. But my fingers will feel, oh, wait, this side's higher than the other. So me running my hands over this whole thing, very advantageous to getting me in symmetry and in, getting my forms right and even. And I get a lot of folks who argue and say, nothing in nature is perfect, nothing is symmetrical. That's true. and we're replicating it. However, I think the same amount of screw up that we do in our symmetry, that's about how much nature has. No more than that. So if we try to get it perfect, well, nature tried to get it perfect too. But it just doesn't always work out that way. So yes, shoot for symmetry. You're not going to get it. Shoot for it, because that's how you get it just the right amount of not symmetrical. Are there specific pieces where that's different? Yes, of course. Some things make no attempts to be symmetrical, and that's okay too. See, I've got a fan right over here directly onto my work, and that's drying the sculpture out pretty quick. That's okay. All right, so let me get back in here with the brush. Got a little carried away with my green scrubby. This is a mouth, you know, inside of the mouth. What do you have? You have a lot of soft curves, and you know, there's a palette in there. You need to, I need to work on that. I got to make sure that this is all smooth and soft. There's no rough textures. I'm getting a lot of people right now who are, you know, asking me for sculpting advice and such. And I'm more than happy to give it. The thing that I find myself, you know, until I gave advice, I didn't really realize this. What I found is a piece of advice I'm giving a lot is it looks doughy. And that's because this clay is a lot like dough. A very soft clay. That looks doughy. You know? So when you make something out of here that's soft and round and bulbous, you have to sculpt it to really make it look like any other texture than what it is. The clay's going to take the path of least resistance, and you should not allow that. Will not suffer clay telling me what to do. Oh, no, sir. Okay, does that sound uppity enough on that one? Now, their creature has 3 rows of teeth. I'm going to do 2 rows of teeth. Not because I'm skimpy. I was given enough license on this, but also I'm making this much more compact than that creature is in the show or whatever. This, I have to adapt this to be worn by a human, and not worn by a human that has 12 handlers and 2 assistants, and he's needed for 20 minutes on set, and then after that he can take a 45-minute break and do another 20 minutes on set. No, these are actors who have to be, you know, that the least of their schedule is going to be half an hour on, half an hour off. That's the easiest it's going to be. The worst it's going to be is 8 hours in this costume. No changes, no nothing. 8 hours. That'll suck. All right, so I also have some form stuff. When these petals sweep in, they take a little bit with them. All right, I have to find some other sculpting tools. I have a whole thing full of sculpting tools, and I don't know where it is. That's not it. Hang on, gang. Bear with me. Aha! I have it. I have no place to put it. Okay. Here it is. Wire loop I was looking for. Just twisted wire this time. Makes it a little bit different. Looking at my reference. Seeing what happens where these connect. Okay, that's good. Really, that's in here. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. This ain't going to look like much because of, you know, the nature of it. You know, this has so many pieces to it. But you're seeing at this point kind of how I have to think in layers to get this sucker built. I can't just say, oh, here's the monster, I'll sculpt the monster. I have to have a hinge area where those pedals attach. I have to have, you know, all the things done correctly so that this creature will operate. Just like that, we plucked out some form. Before, these were just lumps on there. See how that makes it flow a little bit into it? Just a little. Need to knock this off too. That's too strong. And as I take that down, I need to add out here. This side gets knocked down too. When I first carve those lines in, they're very harsh. I go back with the wire loop tool and I knock off those edges, and that softens them. What kind of claws you talking about, Linda? If I'm sculpting a latex glove, I want to make it all one piece, because the fewer pieces you have, the better. Yes, it would, Matt, because the look is very different. Now, if you paint it green, it'd be very similar, but it is a different enough look where I wouldn't worry about that once it's finished. Well, the Demogorgon is copyrighted, but the Demi Morgan is not. Ezekiel, my business trip was wonderful. Sorry, bipolar Bushman. Yes, it is. It's a very strange thing. Yes, it's a strange thing. That's exactly right. Going back through comments. There we go. Okay, I think I'm caught up. Oh, I use a industrial hot glue, but if you don't have that industrial hot glue, probably the best thing to use is contact cement and then put a few stitches in it. That way you have a mechanical bond and a chemical bond. I use an industrial hot glue, which is a pine tar resin, and it's very good. When I say I hot glued something together, that's what I mean. But a lot of people think that the clear white hot glue sticks, like normal, are what I'm talking about, and that's not it. They're a completely different type of adhesive, and almost in a different family, because they're more of a resin, whereas the white ones are more of a thermoplastic. Okay, so this guy up in here. There's some of this happening. I'll be deeper down here at the base and less as I go up to the top. And the same thing, I'm going to carry these this way. Just give this a little bit of form. Those little rivulets that I just put in there, you're not going to see them at all down the road, but they're in there to add something underneath what we're going to do later. This lip right here, I think, needs a little strengthening. So I'll kind of do that next, I think. Okay. Thanks, Kelly. I'm glad that I am streaming live. I enjoy it. Okay, so I want you guys to look at something. Right here, this lip, it's wavy. And the creature's lip, this is actually up here right under the nose. So that's not going to happen. Able to put quite the gullet on this guy because I have enough buildup right there. Scott is the man. That's absolutely correct. So now I'm going in here. Once again, I'm working on smoothing out. Clay has a tendency, when you make an edge of something, like say a lip, you squeeze it out. See how uneven that is? That's not natural. That's not good. You're cheating. No, this won't move like the wolf mask. This is 4 big pedals that'll open and close with servos. Much bigger mask and creature. Much bigger. Very much with the digging. That is what this is. And I'm actually going to push these back even further to have a little more detail room in here. So to move this back, I'm probably just going to cut it off with a wire. I'm not scared. I'm not nervous. I have stuff I want to do. Moving that back, I still think I'll be able to get the pedals shaped right to all close, but now I have the advantage of I've got room to put detail. I can really work on getting these guys even too. Now, see, I've got to think. What I just did, too, though, moves the servos closer to the actor's ear. So that could be an inconvenience. I might have to look at that. When I start running the servos and making sure that they're going to do everything I need them to do, I got to listen to them. And then I'll know if I got to put some kind of sound suppressor on it or move the servo to the back of the head and then use rods or something else to manipulate these. You know, because if the servo's right on top of the ear, that's not going to sound good. You've got to be in this costume for a while. You know, you don't want that. But again, it's got to be on purpose. Everything I'm doing has to look at on purpose. Now I can really start going in with some shaping tools. Start making some stuff. Just have to find the right shapes. I think I want a very shallow V to make these trenches. Hello, Dark Illusions. Good to be back on. So I really have a couple different ways that these lines are going to go. I've got some that go this way to support this mouth structure in here. And I have, let's just say there's two of those. And then I've got many that are going to come from that hole out up into this. Now see why I got rid? I moved those back. I want to have room for these structures. If I cram all of my stuff all together, then I've got these big areas that are just going to be kind of textured, but not well. Then you want oil-based clay, you want Monster Makers. I would say get it from Biddy Mold Supply or Brick in the Yard Mold Supply. Good company, good stuff. Monster Clay is made by Monster Makers. They also carry it. If you're closer to Dallas, get it from Biddy. If you are closer to Ohio, then get it from Monster Makers, because that'll save you on shipping. So now hopefully you guys can see some organicness coming into this from just some of these lines that are happening. And the inside of this, it's a lot of texture. You know, it's not going to be a lot of, you know, massive forms. There are no eyes. There's lips and stuff, but there's not, no eyes, no nose to worry about. It's kind of nice. Lines in here to clean up. There's, you know, the tool marks and stuff in there. Put in other, you know, tool marks here in a minute, but I at least want to get rid of these guys. And since I made those shapes, I haven't really done anything with them to knock the edges off or refine them. I'm going to refine those now. So now there's some stress there. All these little things look like tendons a little bit. Look like they're holding it open or pulling it back down. One of those. And that tells me that I should do that here. And in doing this here, these lines will be cut out for vision. This way, my actor will be able to see great spots for him to look out of. Yeah, there'll be these little bars of latex here, and that's okay. They're close enough to the eye, it's going to just melt into and out of his vision, and I think that's perfectly fine. And I don't need them to be nice. I don't need them to be super deep. If they're super deep, when I make a mold, it's going to be a positive deep thing. And it's going to, it could break off, basically. And I have to get 9 of these for the client. So actually they want 8. 1 is for me. Okay. But now I know I can cut all that out. Got these little areas to bridge. It looks better in the sculpture to really pull those out of there, but I may actually fill them back in a little bit. I might have gone a little crazy. They'll be that deep, of course, on the mask, but I don't need them to be that deep on the sculpt. Makes molding it harder. It doesn't make molding it harder. What it makes is it makes the mold less durable. I don't want a durable mold. I do fun stuff. I want a durable everything. It seems like I'm taking a long time finessing these shapes. I am. There's not a lot to this head. It is forms and shapes and things that are all kind of coming together, and I just got to make sure that they all make sense and work as a finished unit. And any texture here, I've got to be able to replicate in the fabric that I'm doing. And there'll be a fabric in between the EVA foam pedal and the latex mask as a piece of movement, like an accordion. Okay, so I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Now this is going to have all kinds of teeth in it too. Up in here, up in here, up in here. All kind of teeth going up in here, up in here. Sorry, I digress. But I think I can now socket this guy a little bit. No, I can't socket it. I can't just put the teeth in and pull it out and go. I need to see where all of these teeth are actually going. It'd be easy for me to say, too far, satellites, the world's a magical place, do it first, because I won't be able to reach the Now this creature does not have a reasonable amount of teeth. He has a ridiculous amount of teeth. I do have to put them in so far that the base gets got. These teeth are going to do a great job of helping me hide the eyes. Because I found that as long as people have something to look at outside, you know, before the eyes, you give them something to look at right in front of the eyes, they don't look through it as easy. I was amazed. I played a tree creature at a Renaissance festival, a tree man, and so many people just didn't see me because I had this layer of branches out in front of me. And that was the secret. And what I'll do when I put this guy together as a latex mask, I will cut off all of these ends, dip that in E6000, and then put it in the socket. Give me 2 pina colada, 1 for each hand. Said Captain Morgan, never reach dry land. Okay. Teeth, teeth, teeth. Face, face, face. Monster, monster, monster. Hooray, hooray, hooray. Well, that tooth stem stuck out a little bit out here, and I can't have that. Yes, I'm going to pull that off in a minute, the tooth, but I do need to pretend that's still there. So many teeth. So many teeth. Can still see. Isn't that fun? No. Okay. So that's the inner mouth. Let's look at how my inner mouth, now there's no detail on that yet. I haven't done and put the little lines in there and things. I definitely have to do some in here because that's going to get painted black. Not like black, but really black. And then let's look at this guy. Now, you're not looking at the whole thing, okay? Just look at this part. Just look at, oh, look at that part. I'm close. I'm just about there. A lot of the rest of it has to happen when I put the mask together for reals. Yes, it would suck to be bitten by it. Absolutely. I have been bitten by a python once, and they have all these little teeth that curve backwards, and that sucks. You got to really get them off of your arm. If you're bitten the arm. If you're Chris Sloan has his own stuff going on, and our schedules didn't line up quite a bit, so that's all. Horror Beauty Effects. What are the teeth made out of? These teeth are plastic teeth, all right? They are from a company called Pumpkin Teeth, theoriginalpumpkin.com, and buy them on Etsy. If you buy them on Etsy from Bob, then you're able to buy packs that are just small teeth or just big teeth. There's another company called Pumpkin Teeth who sells a mixed pack. I don't like the mixed packs as much because I don't need all the teeth. You know, almost everything I do is these smaller teeth, which they're just the perfect size and they're tapered. So if you mold them with it in, it just comes right out. It's great. Okay. I have a lot of pumpkin teeth. Okay. Hey, Scott, can you find the Etsy link for Pumpkin Teeth, all one word, for Bob Connor's Pumpkin Teeth? That would be awesome if you could do that. But yeah, pumpkin teeth are, they're a very valuable tool in my arsenal. All right, so does this area need to be contained? Like, do I need a lip here? I think I need some kind of a lip to end the inner, to go from inner face to outer face. But I think I'm gonna have to do that in the fabric and stuff in the build-up of this mask. I don't think I'll do it on this. All right, I did get another pack of teeth because I need them for up in here. Up in here, up in here. Y'all gonna make me use some teeth. Up in here, up in here. Why has this got so many teeth? Up in here, up in here. I apologize for my poor singing of songs, but they pop in your head. You just do it. Okay, I just do it. I'm sure you guys probably show a lot of restraint. I don't. My petal teeth are going to start here. So I'm going to have some distance between these teeth and these teeth. That should be fine. I think that'll work. All right, so this. Okay. I did not like some of the things that were happening right here. They just didn't look on purpose. and it has to be on purpose. It looked like the clay was kind of doing whatever it wanted. I'm not about that. Okay. This is a little more sparse one. And now that I put up a great fence so that I can the teeth on the inside of the mouth. Because I'm dumb. I'm going to start aiming these teeth back a little bit, only so that they're more visible. Okay. I'm in pretty good shape on this. I'm patiently looking at my reference to see what's happening in there. All right. Now I can see what's happening. Pattern in here, kind of a X's, crosses, waves, whatever you want to call it, almost around where all these teeth end up. It's going to add some texture to the mouth. It's going to add some visual interest. As I am dry brushing these guys, it's going to add an area for paint to settle. Yes, I have some lines in there now, but those were big forms. You know, those aren't details. Now I'm putting in some of these right now, but I'm going to have to touch them up, of course, once I pull all these teeth out of the way and I've got room to really get in. But I still want to pull these down so I know my direction and I know what's happening here. when I get to having the teeth gone, I want to have very minimal work left to do. I've got to refine some of these guys that I'm putting in now, but I really want to be in good shape as far as being almost done. I'm not carrying this all the way back to the hinge because I know I'm going to have like some bunched up fabric and stuff right here, and I want a smooth gluing area. Now I'm just putting a line in here along that jaw to separate the outer skin from the inner. And then here, just needs a little bit of texture. I don't want this to look dry, so I've got to really round this out with a wet brush after. But right now, I'm going to pull these suckers out. And I actually like that I'm having to work around these teeth a little bit right now. It's forcing me to take different angles, whereas often a sculptor will get easy and hit the same angle over and over and over and over again because they can. Well, I can't do that. I can't just run down the line right now. And that's giving me way more interesting shapes that are informed by the teeth. I'm just kind of pulling out what I can on this guy. All right. So this wet brush, I think, will obliterate these. Let's see. No. Sometimes it'll just like turn them into mud and they're gone. I don't want them gone. I just got to calm them down a little. And I definitely cannot get all of them right now because just you can't. All right. So I'm looking at where I'm at. I'm mostly sculpted. There's things that I like. There's some things I don't like. This is acting as my eye area, so I need to make sure that that ends in a clearly defined little cut point. But the eyes are so well hidden behind all these teeth, that makes me very happy. And I think I can put curls in. There'll be 4 servos on this, and they're all this big. Okay, they're tiny. That's all that it needs. And of course, this is the shaft of it, and they're going to turn this way. So this has to be in here, this direction, and then I attach. It's about wrap up time. Well, yeah, these are 4.8 to 6 volts. I'm going to give them 6 volts. The torque is 1.6/2.0 kilograms, .cm. So these guys, and they have little horns here and everything to attach. And I will probably end up using the round one because it's got a good base for me to attach things to. And those pedals are going to go. Yeah, nice. Nice. That's going to keep the weight down. I think that'll be fine. All these will stick into my Fright Props servo controller, which is programmable. I need to get a battery pack for 6 volts. Every AA battery is 1.5 volts, so 1.5, need a 4 battery pack, which I'm going to have to work into the back of the actor's head where the battery pack will go. So, yeah, exciting stuff. We're moving on, gang. We're getting there. And that cup of water that I have with the sponge in it, I'm going to put that right here too. So if it gets hot and it evaporates this water, that water disperses all around this again. And you know what? This actually sticks out pretty far. I am going to put a wet rag on top of that. One more layer of protection. Wet rag up here. Gravity is going to make it kind of drip down a little bit. From this evaporating, it's going to come up to the top of the bag and re-wet that. It'll be a nice constant cycle of moisture. Okay, so gang, we are working on our DEMI MOOREGON, which will be a very strange thing, as you can do it said earlier, but fun. All right, gang, so that's it. That's it for tonight. Tomorrow night I'll be back on. I'm going to finish out this sculpture. Probably get a crack on the mold, because I got to do it. Well, it's not going to dry overnight because of how moist I'm going to keep it. It would dry out overnight in this Texas weather, absolutely. But I've got it really moist. It's not going to dry out overnight. I've got a lot of water on it. I've got water in there with it, and I've got a wet rag on top of it in a plastic bag. So that is the Fort Knox of moisture right there. It'll be fine. If I'm wrong, I have to resculpt this before I get live again, so you guys never know. I'm not going to do that. It'll be fine. What's it going to get tomorrow? Maybe 110? That's not so bad.